sense in sharing this
What's
one and
up,
only
everybody?
life. Ending up just another lost and lonely one. And they will be filled
What's
with
up, everybody? It's good to see you
tears.
again.
Love only breaks up to start over again.
Living our
You
best
get
life
the
right
baby,
here on
but
From
you
the
won't
Shore to Be
have your
More.
man. While
It's good to
he's
see everybody
busy
checking in
loving
and checking us out
every
again.
woman that he can.
With yours truly, Shaheed, and the one and only. There you go.
And you just can't break away.
You just can't break away from that young love. And that speaks to our topic today, people.
Absolutely.
My child, my friend. That's what we're speaking about today, people.
Question mark.
Question mark. That is a big question mark. And we're going to have an in-depth discussion on parenting.
Right.
Then and now.
Then and now, right? Absolutely. From my experience, I became a parent at 17, and then again at 18, and then again at 21. And of course, that's a young age to become a parent, but I was a parent, and I did things then that I probably wouldn't do now as much. That whole spare the rod, spoil the child thing. I didn't live by that creed at all as a young parent, and then understanding that being a father of daughters and understanding the impact of physical discipline to them, how important it is to not show that, because as a man, we're their first idea of man. So as a man, if I'm giving them the sense of this is how I'm gonna get my point across to you and be physical with them, what am I gonna be expecting in return from some man when they're dealing with a man, and before I get sent to prison for killing some goddamn body for putting their hands on my goddamn daughter or one of my daughters. So I wish I would have known more then, as a young parent.
All parents say that.
To not do it as much. Now, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't not do it, period. But to not do it as much. Like that was the automatic response, because as we talked about on previous shows, that's how we came up. Our parents with the physical discipline. Just,
right.
Norm regular, this is what you do. What? What? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been so quick to do it then, had I known what I know now. But now, being a dad of two new kids that are now 8 and 6, I try to do things way differently from what I did at 17, 18, and 21.
Absolutely.
And then again, now I have a son and another baby girl. So I don't want them to have in their mind that hitting is the how you get your point across. But I also don't want it to be where you there's not going to be consequence to your action. And if you push and push and push and push and push, the consequences become more major than just being sent to the corner. So that's where I stand on the parenting.
Yeah, and when you talk about parenting, that is a really broad subject.
Right,
And being at the age that we are, it gives us an opportunity to reflect and look back, where a lot of young people are still trying to learn. It's a broad, and I think we talked about that, all three of us together on Tuesday. Hi, Debbie.
Hey.
Hey. It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you guys and the audience?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic as always.
Yeah, I'm great, and I'm great for a number of reasons. I don't want to talk about it real fast. Yesterday was a big cookout family reunion deal at my sister Angela's house, who I'm still at. Right, I haven't even left yet. Yesterday, it's huge, and it was a wonderful time. It was really beautiful. We all had a good. It was good to see Boom and his family there.
Yeah, I made it out. I'm excited. I'm happy that I decided to go ahead and take the ride and go up there.
Because he came after a gig.
Yeah, I
so that was major.
So, and where I was an hour and 30 minutes away from where they were. So I said, yeah, we're going to do it. My wife, I always, listen, I got to give a shout out to my wife because she a thug. For real. Like, she drove up there, not that she can't drive or she won't drive, but she drove up there by herself.
Shout out to Sherelle.
You know what I mean? Met me there, and then driving back home, same thing. We didn't leave there till like 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, we was already gone.
Right, yeah. We
was already gone.
Playing games and playing ping pong and all types of stuff. But
it was a great time. And to family and friends that missed it, you missed something special. Hopefully we'll get to see you at the next time, because one thing we talked about is the fact that as we're getting older, having kids, there's a lot more space between us cousins and everything. And we just don't have the opportunity to see each other like we used to. So I'm hoping to see everybody again at the next one. But that being said, I want to shout out Sakima, Sylvia, Simone, Ashley, well, you know, some of which were on my team yesterday, by the way, playing volleyball, and we kicked butt. We was winners all day, by the way. I want to put that out there. And on the pool table, I want to shout out my partner Jonathan, who was my nephew, my sister Alicia's kids, her and Sean's sons, Jonathan, Nathaniel, and Caleb. I want to shout them out too. It was a great time. It was. And my understanding, you guys had a great time too. Was it Wednesday at karaoke?
Absolutely. Aunt Debbie stepped up in the building, and we had
I heard
Wednesday at karaoke.
I heard.
They came out surprising. I didn't know they were coming at all. So that was a wonderful surprise to see them in there as well. And listen, real quick, while you're tuning in, family, give us a comment so we can shout you out to know that you are tuning in right now. I know we got 6 right now. We have 6 viewers. Let us know that you are here. Just tap in and say this is such and such, and we can shout you out real quick, because we always want to show love. Everything about this show is about love. You know what I mean? So we always want to show love and gratitude to everyone.
Yes, and some of the family members mentioned to me the fact that when we had the family reunion show, they weren't able to get on. So we apologize about that. We didn't know that there was a limited amount of people we could have on.
Yeah, we stepped up our game since then. So, you know what I mean? We could have more people on now. So, we would.
Yeah, and so we're going to do it again.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Well, Aunt Debbie.
Yes.
How did you enjoy your trip?
I loved it. When I walked in the place planning to be alone and watch you work, and your 2 daughters came running up to me. Oh my God. But I loved karaoke, and next time I'm going to sing.
Oh, I thought you sang. You didn't sing.
No.
Boom, you didn't get her up there to sing.
Next time, I'm going to make that a regular when I go to Maryland and I go to see about my brother. I'm always going to arrange to be there on Wednesday if I can.
Yeah, she said she was saving her voice. She said she'd want to, make sure it's at the right level that it needs to be at the next time she come out. So she was just saving her voice.
Oh, Debbie, since you mentioned it, I know we're about to get into our topic soon, but before we get into it, how is your brother doing?
He's well.
He's well.
He's well. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's definitely good to know. All right. So I know a lot of people was chiming in when I was telling them we were doing a show about this topic. A lot of people got a lot of things to say on it.
So, I prepared like a sort of intro, and then you guys just take it wherever, so that we could, give some perspective on the topic.
Sure.
So my understanding is we're talking about the art of parenting,
Okay.
my child, my friend. So the underlying topic is, what is effective parenting? Does wanting to be a child's friend cause problems? On the other pole is a parent being autocratic and tyrannical. And why might the two poles, friend or tyrant, be damaging to the child and to the child's relationship with the parent?
Okay.
That's awesome. I think, well, not I think, I know as a young parent, I was a tyrannical parent. Now I'm probably more. What was the other one? Um,
Well, the poles were being a friend to the child. Is that efficacious in raising a child? So it's the pole would be being a friend or being a tyrant. The middle way might be friendly and firm. I don't know.
yeah, well now I think now I'm that one. I'm definitely not looking. Listen, I told my stepkids, I said, I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to make sure you become the best you that you could possibly be in this world. And if that
Boom. You went low.
causes,
You went down low for a second. I
Yeah,
couldn't hear you.
voice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's low.
hold on, I got to turn my mic up so y'all can hear me. Um, so
Yeah.
if that causes them to not like me, like I said, I want them to be the best version of themselves that they could be, and that is my job here, as another parent. And if that causes you not to like me, but you become the best version of you that you can be, then not liking me is something I'll take. I'll take the not liking me thing, because I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here for you to help you become the best version of you that you can become. So, and that's one of the main reasons why we're moving.
Mm.
Are the two mutually exclusive? You
Um,
being a good parent and them, liking you? Because a child who grows up not liking their parents, that causes other issues when they have to work with authority figures
right.
down the road. So is that mutually exclusive,
Um,
DJ Boom?
I think one of the things that I do, I feel like I've done, is talk or antagonize, and that's picking on everything, you know. But so learning how to balance, not to nitpick compared to the teaching moments, is what I'm doing now. You know, I'm learning how to balance that, not to be such a, well, why you do that, and what it is, why is this, da da da. So as a kid, you could not like being talked to all the time. That's what I mean by not liking me. Not overall, I just don't like this dude because there's no reason not to like me. I'm awesome. But as you're growing up, you know, you got that parent that you dropped a piece of paper. They gotta say something. Why is that paper right there? Why the book bag on the floor? Why your shoes right there? Da, da, da. So it's like, this person again. You know what I mean? So I'm trying not to be that antagonizer and lean more into the teaching mode. So now what I do with the kids is I talk to them, even if it's a disciplinary thing. I tell them why it's being done. We say you got no TV for a week. This is the reason why you have no TV for a week. Not just you're punished, go to your room, no TV, boom, and that's it. You know what I mean? Now I will sit down and I will talk to them. Listen, this is what it is. Da, 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 da. You can't do this. Blah 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 blah. So I'm trying to teach cause and effect.
And also to get their feedback on why they think they're being punished, because a lot of times we can say this is why, but an opportunity for the child to give feedback helps them to understand why what is happening, why the punishment or the consequences have been placed.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, listen, let's be honest. Parenting, when you talk about the two different aspects of it, it's a delicate balance. It's something that, especially when you started as young parents like we did, it's a balance that has to be learned over time. You start off with what's taught by your parents, taught to you by your parents, what you might have learned in the house, and then
Mhm.
you build from there. Your child is different from you were as a kid. It's a lot to it, and so it's a delicate balance, but it's one that's learned over time. Uh, Communication to me was the biggest thing. How to communicate to a child, because communicating to an adult is different than communicating to a child. And so how to not just be able to communicate you to the child, but how can the child communicate to you and let you know what they're feeling, not maybe necessarily during the conversation, but how they felt after the conversation.
Right. Right.
Because a lot of times kids are in fear. Uh, well, I feel this way, but I dare not mention it
Right.
because I'm going to get there's
Right. Right.
consequences. That's
Absolutely.
not what you want. That's something I had to learn.
Right.
It's a very delicate balance. Just real quick, Jasmine, I know you're watching. I do have your email, but do me a favor. Just put it in our comment section. It'll be a little easier for me to send you the link. For those who know, my Jasmine daughter recently had a baby not so long ago. I am a grandfather. And yeah, thank you. Oh, Preston's granddaughter, named Cassidy, by name Cassidy. And she wanted to give some insight on what it was like to be a parent in the world today. Which being a parent in the world today is different. I don't necessarily just mean as raising a baby, because when the baby's a baby, though things are different, it's kind of the same. Bottles and pampers, you know. But as they get older in this new world, that's the trick. When I was a kid, there was no internet. More importantly, when I was a kid, there were no school shootings. Unheard of. Unheard of. It surprised me, and this was when my son, he just graduated high school, I think a year or two ago. When he was in high school, they used to have practice drills for shooters. Could you imagine? What a distraction that must be to a child in school, especially in the elementary school, that you're taking drills. We used to have fire drills, not
Right.
active shooter drills.
Right.
Well, we have bomb drills,
Really?
and yes, and I still have nightmares. Those drills drilled nightmares in me. So it's
Wow.
a different form of violence. Yes.
So then you can understand fully what the kids the trauma, the type of trauma these kids today must be dealing with. Especially, listen, although they might not sit down and physically watch the news with their parents, they're hearing about these school shootings. They're hearing about the 19 children that were murdered in Texas, and they
Yeah.
hearing about all of this. And
Yeah.
so, how do they feel about going to school in the upcoming school year, knowing that this is a possibility in America today?
And as parents, we need to ask them how they feel.
Ah,
Not wait for them to say something, but to casually drop it, which means we have to get clarified about how we feel. Because if we're tremulous, then we can't help them with their feelings. And so we have to find some kind of ground to stand on and ask them if they're watching the news with us. So, what do you think about that? What do you think is going on? And let them talk.
But one thing I don't do is watch the news. I don't watch the news at all. Watch no part of it. If I hear
Mhm.
anything, it's just ironically opening up Facebook or Instagram, and I might see something or somebody shares it with me and says, "Hey, you heard about blah 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 blah." Other than that, I don't watch the news. I don't like the the propaganda of constant fear consistently being pumped out, and I don't want. I want my children to be aware. I don't want them to live in fear.
Mhm.
So there's two different things in that. I don't want them to be afraid, like my daughter being afraid of spiders. I don't want her to be afraid of spiders. There's no reason to
Exactly.
be afraid of spiders. There's no reason to be afraid of spiders. They're not coming for you. They ain't looking for you. They're not coming to your room and saying, "Where is she? I'm coming to get her." But so I'm gonna break that stigma of fear compared to awareness. Now, I don't want you to walk into a spider's web where there's a big spider and da da da. I want you to be aware of your surroundings. But I don't want you to walk around in fear, because that creates anxiety and all types of other issues. That again, if we talked about all these issues on the show, we'd be here till tomorrow talking. So I try to do things. I'm trying to do things very, very differently in our household. Like I mentioned earlier, that's there. These kids are one of the main reasons we're moving from this house because I don't want these kids no longer going to city schools. I don't want them in city schools. With what I've seen with my children in this household, the city schools is just dismissing these kids off. Like literally, they in there and okay, go in the next grade, go on to the next grade, and they're not learning nothing. They're not learning, or they're not retaining, learning anything. I said, oh no, not mine. You treat somebody else kids like that, not mine. My kids are gonna be great, and that's what I'm gonna strive
Yeah.
for them to be great.
Well,
Um,
there's a lot to it when you talk about the school systems, the different school systems all across the country. I mean,
right.
when it came to my son's schools and the school system in Asbury Park, I was very involved in that. My wife and I, in the PTAs and all of that. I mean, we were very involved to the point where everyone in the school knew us. And I don't mean just the school when you start out in elementary school. I mean, by the time we got to high school, everybody in the high school already knew who we were as far as the teachers and staff because they had heard about us already. And so that's it takes a lot of involvement. And unfortunately, in a lot of communities, you don't get that kind of involvement in the school system. And unless you have that kind of involvement, hands-on, by not just a handful of parents, by a good number of the parents, you will not have a school system that you will be happy with. I promise you that.
Right.
So we were at the board meetings many times after work, tired. Yeah, we were there and everything. We got to know the principals and the staffs of these schools, and we were very involved. And so I like to think my son had a better experience because of our involvement.
I know he did. I could tell you. And I wasn't even there. I tell you right off the top that he did, because you were involved. Even being in the household, and we back to the parenting part of it. Even in the household, not even just in the schools, even in the household, being involved.
Speak up a little bit.
Being involved in what they got going on in the schools. I mean, being in the household is different from, you know what I mean? Is the household is where it all begins. And this will be a long topic too, but I'm not going to indulge into it. One of the things that I don't understand is bullying. So when I talk to my kids, my older kids, about bullying, people tried it. People tried it with me. It was a mistake, but they tried it. No one ever taught me. So everybody just assumes because they know me, oh, you got 5 brothers, so that's the reason why. I'm number 3 out of the 5, out of the 6. I'm number 3. So the 2 older ones didn't teach me about fighting. My dad didn't teach me about fighting. Nobody taught me to defend myself. I did that on my own. So for me, I don't understand the concept of you can walk out the door, somebody can pick on you, and you don't do nothing about it. And now you're afraid of these people. I don't get it. I will never understand it because it could never be me. It was never me. They tried it. People tried to bully me. We moved to Baltimore, and my first day in the school, these 2 kids followed me and my sister home, telling me I ripped his coat. I don't even know this kid. I'm not even from this state. But they followed us home, saying you ripped my coat, this, that, and the third. What? We got up to my house, and he called my mother the B word, and it was on and popping at that point. But he didn't physically do nothing to me. You just running your mouth saying I ripped your coat. I don't even know you. You're not even none of my classes or nothing. So people have tried it, and they failed to bully me. So bullying, I don't get it. And that's a part of the household trend as well, because if they're being bullied at home, then that means they could be bullied outside of the home.
Now you done spoke some wisdom.
Right.
You have spoken wisdom. I hope everybody hears that. If you come from a household where you're bullied, your likely to be bullied? You said it better, but I wanted.
Right. If they're being bullied at school, 9 times out of 10 they're being bullied
Wow.
at home. And it runs deep. I try to talk to people um with an empathetic ear to understand where they come from and why they're doing the things that they're doing. And then you get some information about their background and then you understand it. So that's where my patience level comes from with people. That's where I'm able to be a great DJ. I've had so many people come up to me and say, how do you deal with people talking to you all the time? People asking you this, asking you that, and blah, 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 blah. Because I don't take it personal. These folks don't know me. They don't know me. Even the person that threatened me one time, he don't know me. It would have been a mistake to put your hands on me. But you know what I mean? Okay, you threatened. I said, man, go ahead with that nonsense. I'm good. I'm good. My energy is too powerful for this nonsense to come down around me like that. And I'm not gonna allow somebody to take me out of my space and what's important for me and my family to do something crazy because they want to spout off at the mouth or say something silly out their mouth. I don't have the time for it. So I just think about what's important to me. What's important to me is my wife, my kids, my older kids, my family. I can't do nothing for them if I'm behind bars or 6 feet under because I let somebody say I was a punk and now I'm no longer here. You know what I mean? I let somebody say, oh, your hair ugly, da 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 da. So now I done punched them and killed them and now I'm locked up. You know what I mean? No. I gotta be here for them. So I got bigger fish to fry than a little man. You're a low man on a totem pole. I'm not indulging in that. So and that instills, again, we're talking about parenting, but that falls into the parenting role that I'm doing now for my 8-year-old and my 6-year-old. I didn't ever think I would be parenting kids today. You know what I mean? My youngest is 26. And then I got married and now I got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. Never thought I would be back in the world of parenting and school and dealing with this and dealing with that. But here I am. I need them and they need me. So we here and we gonna make it do what it need to be done. Plain and simple.
Oh yeah, and the kids gonna be fine. The kids gonna be great because one thing about our family is it takes a village. We were always together. We were always together. Through thick and thin. That's something that I wish that our kids and their kids could experience a little more. Right. But I understand everybody has their own life and the world is going in their direction. But we were always together. Right. I could spend many nights just at at you guys' houses from when I was a little kid.
Right.
From when I was a little kid, yes. Sharing the same beds and everything.
18th Street. I got mad memories from 18th Street.
Oh. Great times, though. Right. It was beautiful.
Crazy memories, man.
I grew up with my cousins as my best friends. What's better than that?
Right. And so now for our children to not really know each other is funny to me. Like Wednesday, Greg's daughter was at karaoke, and my kids are there, and nobody's talking to know. You know what I mean? Nobody knows and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's just funny. Like they've seen her before, and she's seen them before, but it's no. And I'm not saying they gotta be best buds, nothing like that. Just there's no like hi. No,
so they're missing out on something, but we're hoping to correct that. So again, like I'm hoping people come to the next gathering if it's not at my sister's house, and then bring the kids. The kids had so much fun yesterday, man. It was great. They played with us, with the adults. We played volleyball. The kids was right there. We had to watch out for knocking them down. But they was right there because it was more important that they had a good time, not us.
Right.
And they did. They had a great time. Boom, do me a favor. Mm-hmm. Could you send Jasmine our link? Because for some reason I can't send it from here. I don't know if it's Wi-Fi, whatever it is. I'm having a hard time sending from here.
I sent it to
JasmineBoyd@yahoo.com.
Oh, I sent it in Messenger. Okay, I'll send it again.
You see it? And yeah, I'm really hoping that we get even bigger turnout at the next gathering, because it's about us reconnecting, but it's also about the kids, man. It's more about the kids. Let them experience all the love that we grew up with, all the protection and everything, and learn like we learned from our elders.
What is going on with these folks and this Yahoo stuff? Come on, folks.
How to socialize and everything. It's a great thing. Of course,
Absolutely.
I was a kid in the '70s, which is a whole different time. It was a beautiful time.
I've seen so many parents of today
Okay.
trying to be friends with their children instead of being their parents.
What you say? Trying to be their friends?
Right. And
Right.
they're trying to be friends with them because of what they experienced as kids with
Right.
their parents. If the dad wasn't in the picture, if the mom wasn't in the picture, if they were in the picture but wasn't in the picture, if you understand what I'm saying, they're there, but they're not there. So now, when you have a kid, now you're gonna fight for them not to experience that. But I think the line between understanding that you're the parent and they're the child, it's not always about physical discipline.
Mm.
It's simply about gaining the respect of the child, for the child to respect you in such a way that physical discipline is not even going to be necessary, whether you want to do it or not.
Mm.
If you gain that level of respect with your children,
Yeah.
you don't have to try to be their friend, and that's where the lines get crossed.
I agree. I already told my my daughter and my son-in-law, if not to spank their kids, not to spank. Now, granted, we got spankings because I believe that's how my parents were raised, and that was what was taught. It was passed down. But in hindsight, I wish I didn't spank my kids.
Me too.
It probably scarred me more than them.
Oh, most definitely. I absolutely wish it never happened. 100%. If I could take it back, I would take it back. When I came home from the army, I was more of the the military discipline dad at that point. Like, I'm not gonna hit you, but you're gonna be in the push-up position for a little while, or you're gonna be in the electric chair position for a little while, or something like that. But the physical part of it, I took away, because, again, like I said, as the first representative of man, especially to your daughters, and I'm the man that represents, and I'm beating on them, what do I expect for them to look for in a man? And I'm telling them at the same, although I'm beating on them, I'm saying I love you, and I'm beating on you, and I'm beating on you, and I love you. So how they supposed to interpret that getting beat is not love? You know what I mean? Like, no, we're gonna change that narrative. And fortunately, as far as I know, I'm here to talk about it. So I never had to deal with my daughters going through any sort of abusive relationship or nothing like that. But those things is what I mean by in the household bullying in the household. If you're being bullied in the household, it's my way or no way. That you're just being a bully. And I lived with people that were like that. It's my way or no way. And not my parents, but as I became a teenager, I want to be.
I would love to see if we could get your mom on Boom, because your mom had 9 kids, all different. It could not have been easy to parent 9 kids.
No, it wasn't.
That in and of itself was a challenge. I would like to hear her opinion on parenting. And Boom, while I got you, Jasmine just sent me a different email. I guess the other one just wasn't good. It's Jasmine Wiggins at UDC.edu. Some people just got way too many emails.
You said UDC?
You know, I get it. I mean, she went through law school and everything. She's about to become an attorney. She's a busy woman. I get it.
Because you said UDC
Yeah,
umbrella Charlie.
UDC dot edu.
That's it. All right. Well, I sent that one too.
And I know she's watching because she's chiming in right now.
I sent it to her in Messenger as well. If she want to check her Facebook Messenger, I sent it to her in there too.
Oh, I didn't know about. See that? I didn't even know we could do that.
Yeah, I've been sending everybody's things through Messenger. As long as I'm their Facebook friend, anyway, I can send it through Messenger.
You're never too old to learn. That's another thing.
I'm sending a message to my mom now and asking her if she's busy.
Yeah. One of the things that I know people wanted to talk about as we approach this subject was the difference also in raising a child back then to now. Like, I noticed that my daughter, they have a lot of gadgets for kids now that we just did not have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these parents these days, they might not feel like it, but they spoiled a little bit.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I would have killed just to have a baby monitor. You know?
Right. Right.
Something as simple as that.
Absolutely.
And another thing, that thing that heats up the bottle in like seconds. What? I used to have to put that bottle on a stove in a pot of water, man. Now it heats up in like seconds.
The funny thing with that is everything changing. I know you adapt. Everything's changing. Everybody adapt. But that's part of that fast. Everybody want it now. We want it now mentality, which falls into me making this point. Everybody complained. If you know about sports, they complained about LeBron James pairing up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami to form this super team to win championships. Everybody complained when Kevin Durant went to Golden State because he won.
Well, Kevin, speak up a little bit. Kevin Durant?
When he was
DJ Boo, you know, whatever your sound is, it's really way low.
I don't know why. I'm up on this mic and the mic is turned all the way up. I have no idea why it sounds so low. And I keep adjusting it as y'all can see. I don't know if you can see. I'm kind of moving it all in the middle and everything. So
Ooh,
let's
that
see
was
if is that better? Right. I gotta hold it to my mouth. Is that better? One of the things I want people to understand is these fellas are young. They're in their 30s, you know, maybe late 30s now, but they're a part of that everybody gets a trophy generation. So they don't even understand the idea of working hard for something like Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell and all of those guys did. They didn't have super teams. They worked hard and got what they needed. Where that generation came from everybody's a winner trophy. Everybody gets a trophy for doing nothing. I don't agree with that at all. That thing for me is like, no, work harder. You know what I mean? We were having a discussion at dinner the other day with some friends, and the
infamous participation trophy.
Right, the kids were playing football. One team was beating the other team 106-0. So the parents started to complain that they didn't stop the game.
This should have been a mercy call. That's in all youth sports. I'm surprised.
4 quarters is what we play. Anything extended beyond that, true, I get it. But what you encourage your children to do is play harder.
No, I get that, but come on, at that score, what's the point of we here now? You might as well call it a mercy game and move on. They can get back to practice.
It ended up that score, but we don't know where it was before the complaints started coming in of, you know, I don't know what the score was. I know that was the final score, 106-0. Then you need to speak to the coaches. You need to speak to everybody's on that. Oh, they should have did. No, you know what you're teaching your kids then? To quit. If I can't get
Mm.
it in this situation, then I'ma just quit. Why y'all making me continue to do this if you know I can't catch up? That's like running a marathon and you running. No, you got to finish that marathon. I don't care if you finish an hour and 30 minutes after the first person finished. You got to finish it. So you're teaching quit. Like you
Mm.
said, the mercy call, that's a quit to me. That's what I'm teaching. Now I'm on the sideline as a father or as a mother, and I'm fussing at the officials. And who sees me doing this? My child sees me fussing. I'm doing it on their behalf, quote unquote. It's their behalf for them to have something more. Oh, this is too much. The score is too high. These kids can't catch up.
Mhm.
Listen to everything you saying, and you expect the kids to translate that into, oh, my mom or my dad's just looking out for me. They're not gonna translate it like that. They're kids.
Well,
They're
I mean,
gonna translate it into
when we're
quit.
talking about football, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody. You're talking about something different in the sense that we might as well call this game, obviously, it's a little lopsided and somebody can get hurt. You know, granted, in football, in youth football, there's not a lot of contact, but there's contact. And, well, in a game like that, let's just call it a day. The kids can get back to practice, and they can work harder at it, you know? But
What I'm
that's just
saying,
my feeling. I know people feel
no,
different.
I
That's fine.
agree. Nope. I 100% agree with what you're saying, but there's a way to do everything. If you're going to do that, then you pull the officials aside in the game, not stand on the field fussing and cursing to try to get them to stop this game because the score is too lopsided. No, because you're literally teaching your kids to quit. That's what you're doing. Whether you want to own it or you don't, you're teaching them to quit. If it's too much, if I'm going to work and the boss gave me too much, I'm not doing it. I'm quitting. I'm
Well,
tapping out.
Debbie, I'm curious how you feel about that type of situation. Should they play on?
I don't know nothing about that.
Well, I'm thinking of the psyche of the kid,
Why?
especially on both sides, and how that impacts them. Like, for instance, on the losing team, that might discourage a kid to be like, you know what, I'm just done with football. I don't even want to play no more.
Well,
And
it suggests to me that there was an imbalance to start with.
Yeah, ha,
You know, that maybe the other kids way more, but that is out of my domain.
yeah.
I could talk about beatings, but
well, we're
I don't know
not
about
necessarily talking about the sport of football itself. It's the impact of parents wanting to call this game
Oh, wow.
because
I'm
the
having a
score
technical issue. I am running out of power. Let me get a cord. I'll be right back.
was of the parents having a issue of the score being so lopsided that
Mhm.
they wanted the game to be stopped. But the way they went about it is they're creating this fuss on the field to
Yeah,
officials instead of the officials coming together. No one knows what they're talking about, and then you make the call of saying,
that sounds like wisdom, DJ Boone. That sounds like wisdom to me.
yeah, they to me that whole quit attitude because the score is lopsided. No,
Hmm.
we've played basketball with guys like clearly Josh is a way better basketball player than we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we played with people like Josh and they wiped the floor with us, but we never quit. We never quit. We don't care if we're playing a 21. We usually play either 16 or 21. Whether it was 16 to 1, 16 to nothing. We didn't quit. We continued to play through and through. And now you might say, "Oh, y'all was older." Doesn't matter. That mentality comes from
I
somewhere.
agree. I agree. You have to be able to tolerate not being the best, but also learn to tolerate maybe even if you're last. You have to learn to not make that a defining moment for you,
Right.
that loss doesn't define you,
Right.
who you
Absolutely.
are.
And what do you say to people, about that? Another parenting thing I know is sensitive to people to hear, but the Trayvon Martin situation was not handled very well by his parents, and this is not about
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd at all. This is simply the parenting part of it. My opinion was at 17. I don't know if you remember me as a 17-year-old kid, Auntie, but
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty rough. You know what I mean? What you say? Da, 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 da. Snap judgment, snapping at everything, blah blah blah. So I put myself in that situation. I'm in a neighborhood that I'm unfamiliar with, walking around with something I probably shouldn't have on, and now I'm getting confronted by somebody. And instead of me reaching out to my parent, because it's this neighborhood I'm unfamiliar with, instead of me reaching out to my parent, I'm reaching out to my girlfriend, and we're laughing about the security guard doing this, and we're laughing about this, and we're laughing about that. So for me, the parenting part should have been, you should have called me as your dad. You're in my neighborhood. You should have called me, not your
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, not engaging with this security guard, not none of that. You should have called
Mm-hmm.
me. But me at 17, I would have done, I would have been engaging. I would have been, who you talking to? You not talking to me like that. You can't tell me what to do. Da 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 da. That all comes from somewhere. So to me, my opinion was the parents should have some responsibility to what happened to this young man. I said, so what do you teach your children now? Do you teach them to be afraid of security because if security stop you, they might do this? Or do you teach them how to handle these situations? You know what I mean? How to deal with the situation. You're in Florida, in a neighborhood that's unfamiliar to you, with a black hood on your head. Why? I know it's hot. You're in Florida. Why are you doing that? And then you're antagonizing along with the security guard. Again, that's no dismissing
You're a brave
George Floyd
man.
at
You're a
all.
brave man, DJ Boom. I think you're absolutely right that the parents need to take.
Okay, that was a surprise. Finish what you were saying on that note.
I just muted her side.
Oh,
Go ahead, Auntie.
I think I've done. I was complimenting you. I think what you say is wisdom. Hmm.
Thank you.
I see my daughter finally managed to get on. Hi, Jazz.
Hey, you probably hear my daughter screaming in the
Is
background.
that what that was? I was wondering.
Yeah,
Where's Brady? Where's she? Where's Cassidy?
What
she's
are y'all
upstairs in
hearing
the
from her?
closet.
That is my beautiful granddaughter making sure that you all hear her today. All right.
Right. What up, cuz?
Hey, what's going on?
I'm trying to
So,
look my best life.
Jazz, how's it going?
It's going good. Tired, but it's going.
One of the things that I always tease my daughter about when it comes to parenting, especially when we talk about what it was when she was a little girl as opposed to now, is the fact that when my daughter just first started learning how to walk and get around, her favorite thing was to take off and run all the time. All the time. If her legs hit the floor, she was off running. And so we would chase after her all the time. Now, that being said, my granddaughter is slowly learning how to walk, and she's got that kind of energy.
Yeah, she always wants to try to pull herself up the stand.
And so now it's your turn to run around after a little baby.
uh,
But
yeah.
that being said, I do want to say one of the blessings of my life, uh, it out of all these years, is being a parent and having the pleasure of bringing such wonderful human beings like yourself, Jazz, and Trey Asia, and Ty Jr. into the world. I feel like that was my purpose on earth, to raise you guys and make sure you turned out to be the human beings that you are, which are great people, by the way. And I thank God for that. And so I'm so proud of you, baby. But it was tough. But it was tough to give people some insight. Her mother and I were very young when we had Jazz. We luckily had support of my mother and things like that. Otherwise, we would have been in a tough situation back then. We come from a time where a lot of times if young women got pregnant, they were shunned by their families. They were kicked out, and things like that. And unfortunately, that was a situation with Jazz's mom and her mother. And Jazz's mom was shunned by her mother, unfortunately. And so her mother had to go through a lot when she got pregnant with Jazz. Of course, thank God for my mom. We worked through it all, and we had the support that we needed. But that's just, again, an insight on what the world is like now as opposed to then. There's a lot more for young ladies who might end up pregnant at a young age than there were back then. And we struggled mightily. I'm glad that my daughter doesn't have to do that. But being that my granddaughter's a baby, parenting hasn't changed a lot in that way. It's still a lot of bottles and Pampers and patience and yada, yada, yada. I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, one thing that I can say that's probably different is, you know, we have the pandemic going on now. So that's things tough. You know, I had to go through a formula shortage. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second, because all parents at that time were going through that. And we were scrambling around, and I'm sure people listening out there watching, we were scrambling trying to find formula for my grandbaby. That's another one challenge that parents have now. And we were also talking about the violence.
yeah.
But hold on about the formula. Y'all should have called Darlene. Should have called DJ Blue's mother. She could have told y'all about carnation milk, making formula from carnation milk, which they have plenty of carnation milk.
A lot of parents were doing all kinds of things, but my granddaughter and a lot of babies needed a special kind of formula.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that made it a little more challenging, unfortunately.
yeah. Eventually we were able to find it, thankfully, but we probably would have ended up having to make something if it got really, really bad. I know that there were a lot of other parents that had to like travel out of state in order to find specific formulas and you know, things like that. But your question, how has motherhood changed you? One way that changed me is being patient. Being patient. I would say that, and I'm used to not getting enough sleep. Like there was one point where you couldn't get me up before, you know, 7 in the morning, you know, 8 in the morning. Now I just naturally sometimes I get up even before the baby does. But something that I want to just talk about when it comes to parenting now versus, you know, back in the day. There was a topic that came up, and did you all grow up with like the neighborhood candy lady, the person whose house you can go to and she would sell like candies and cookies and stuff out the house? I had that. And
I had that in Maryland.
yeah, and it's like that's not something that I would feel comfortable with my daughter doing nowadays. When I was a kid, that wasn't a big deal. There was even someone I remember at my school that would sell like candy and stuff out of their trunk. But now in today's climate, I wouldn't feel comfortable with my daughter just walking up to a stranger or going to a stranger's house, trying to get anything just because of how the world is now. You know, it feels like it's a lot less safe than it was for
Well,
me.
what it sounds like to me is like in the world today, the children are going to miss out on so many of the things that we enjoy as children, Halloween, things like that, because the world is so very different. How do you, or is there a need to supplement that, or now in this new world, new traditions have to take over?
I don't know. I mean, I was watching. I heard a news story about a little girl playing in her front yard and somebody trying to kidnap her. So, and then I heard about a guy hopping the gate at an elementary school trying to take a kid. Like it's ridiculous.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So it makes me someone, a new parent. It makes me really anxious about letting her go out and explore. When I was a kid, I would ride bikes with my cousin. We would go around the block, and I never once thought about, being kidnapped or anything like that. It just wasn't a thought. We would just go
Yeah,
out.
me neither. Us neither.
Yeah, you would go out and you would have fun. But it's like in today's climate, you really have to be cautious about where your kids are. They can even be in your front yard.
In fact, I think when we were children, boom, and I believe maybe on Debbie, you as well, when we were young, our parents encouraged us to go outside. Get out the house. Why aren't you here? Go outside.
Yeah.
But my mother made sure that the girls played where she could see them, though. And she was looking out the window. So we were supervised. And other adults in the neighborhood would be ad hoc supervisors. So we were watched. And we were out with our siblings usually because there were 7 of us. So about 3 of us outside playing at any given time.
Yeah, my mother had 5 kids. And I know in our younger years, we played a lot together. As we got older, we had friends, but we were always outside. I don't remember hanging around the house. Well, let me stop. Because, yeah, I'm old enough, people. I came from an era before video games. Once video games came into play, it changed things a little bit. It did, and we were more inside. Now, me, I was always an athlete. I always wanted to play sports. I never wanted to sit in front of a TV all day. But a lot of my friends did.
We had the video games. We had them all. My dad was a tech junkie, so we had them all.
Oh yeah, he was.
And we still
before they would even come out, you guys had stuff.
So to me, we're back to the same thing I was saying before with parents. To me, parents use this new tool, the games and all that, as babysitters, because we still wanted to go outside. We played the games when we couldn't be outside. But now it's so prevalent, and everybody uses this thing as a babysitter, because I hate to say it, and people get mad at me if you want. A lot of people don't want to be bothered with their kids, so what they do is they take these games and they put them in a corner, and that's what
the tablets be raising the kids.
Exactly, because they don't want to be bothered. This generation of parents, I've heard so much was, I just need a break. 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 I never, ever heard my mom ever once say, I need a break.
Speaking of your mom, let's say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Uncle.
Hey, Mom. Welcome to the show. Both of y'all. I forgot the hand clap for Jasmine as well.
It's good to see you today. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
I specifically wanted to speak to you today because out of all the sisters, you had the most. You had 9 kids. And so everybody was different. All 9 were different. And so it had to be a real challenge raising 9 kids, all with different personalities.
I guess it was. I don't know. I guess my personality was different too. So we all kind of clashed and grew up together.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's true in so many ways.
I should say not clashed. I should say collaborated and grew up together.
Yeah.
For a household of our size, a lot of the things that children know today, I didn't have a clue. Had no idea that there was food stamps in my house. None. These
Right.
kids know everything. I had no idea. I don't know how we was eating. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was cash. I didn't know. And I don't think none of my siblings knew. We didn't know that such and such was in jail and my dad's locked up. My dad wasn't locked up, but you know what I mean? My dad's locked up and like my mother's on crack and my father's doing this. And we knew nothing. We knew nothing. And so for that, I definitely have to say to my mom and my dad at the time, you know, I gotta applaud them because we knew none of that stuff. Like I said in a podcast we had earlier, I heard them argue, but I never seen physical altercations between them.
Right.
Now, as a kid, if you want to guess that they're fighting, then you say my parents was fighting. But to me, I never seen no physical thing. My dad hitting my mom hitting my father, I never seen none of that. You know what I mean? With her arguing, you're gonna hear arguing, they loud. You gotta be deaf if you don't hear yelling.
But that's because it didn't happen.
Right,
We argued now. We threw some stuff around too, but we didn't throw each other.
And that's one of the things I have to say. I applaud my mom being a young parent, and with 9 kids being a young parent. We wasn't subjected to a whole lot of the stuff that kids today with 1 and 2 kids in the household are subjected to. We wasn't subjected to it at all. Now we may have had times where we're not eating the greatest food, but we ate. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, so we weren't malnourished. Everybody went to school. Everybody had school clothes. So what, we shared. Me and Samir shared clothes. So his 2 outfits and my 2 outfits made 4 outfits, but we had it. You know what I mean? So those little things is what I gotta give my mom props on, and my dad for those little things, because again, I didn't know. We didn't know we had food stamps. I remember I found a book of food stamps outside. I didn't know what I found until I brought it to the house. They was like, "Oh, you found some food stamps." Oh, I did. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know nothing. That's how
that
much.
itself leads to a different conversation about the world then and now. I mean, even just the cost of raising children today is different from what it cost. I mean, it was expensive then to us, but now it costs even a lot more money to raise kids today. Everything's going up, obviously.
That's how much we were allowed to be children, though, Shine. We were allowed to be children. Aunt Debbie probably can attest to that too. We were allowed to be children. Jasmine too. Like she said, she jump on a bike, ride around the corner. We were allowed to be children. With these kids today, you set them outside, they come back in 6 seconds later saying it's too hot. I didn't know weather existed when I was a child. I was out in the rain. I was out in the snow. I was out in the sunshine, of course, obviously. The leaves falling off the trees. I'm outside. I didn't want to be inside.
Thank you.
These kids want to be inside. Why do you want to be in here? Go outside. You know, and then when we're in an environment that is not a playground, now y'all want to be singing, dancing, flipping, jumping, doing all this stuff. But when I send you outside, you don't do that. You're sitting there. You're looking crazy. Like what to do? Go play. Climb a tree. Stand on the fence. Do something. I don't know. Be a kid. But you ask them something about their mother that's missing or their father that's not there, and they can tell you all about it. They can tell you all about it. Have a deep conversation with you. That's insanity to me. That's where the levels of friend and parent gets crossed to me. My mom and dad was parents to us. They wasn't our friend. They was parents. To me, in my ideal, they was parents. They wasn't my friend. You know, they did nice things for us, but they wasn't my friend. I didn't know day to day when it was conversation that we was coming to the shore. They didn't gather us together and we had a family meeting saying, "Hey, what do you guys want to do today?" They came to us and said, "Get dressed, we going down the shore." You know what I mean? Like, no, these kids today, they got options. I will never forget. I went to North Carolina to visit a friend of mine, and her nieces and nephews each wanted something different to eat, and we went to 3 different places to get these kids something to eat. I was dumbfounded by that. I said, "Oh, hell no. No. We either stopping at McDonald's, Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, whatever it is, and you're going to find something on this menu that you're going to eat, or you're not going to eat." And when I'm telling y'all, these places wasn't close. Like, we literally going to 3 different places to appeal to these kids, and you wonder why now one of the kids is in legal trouble.
Well, we
Do
can't.
you feel like
Go ahead. Go ahead.
do you
What
feel
happened?
like kids nowadays have more rights? Like if you were to discipline your kids, sometimes the cops can get involved, sometimes the courts can get involved. Do you think that that's one reason? Like they feel like they have the freedom? Like there was a time even where your teachers were able to, discipline you in school, and that's something that's obviously not going on now.
Right. I think that plays a part. I think that plays a huge part, but a lot of that information they don't know unless the parent tells them that. Unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, but it is what it is, because most of the children are with the mom. And a lot of times mom is mad at dad because she can't get a break. She want to be vindictive to him, and now she's going to spew all this venom into the child about the dad, knowing all this information. So when he's with the dad, he or she is with the dad. If he does pop him, like we were talking about before, now we calling the cops. Now we gonna say such and such. You know why? Because somebody gave them that information. I'm not saying we probably could have called back then that we was getting beaten. We probably could have, but that information wasn't privy to us. What do we need it for? So I think a lot of that falls into again the whole friend thing with parents. Like they're kids. They don't need to know everything. You giving kids privileged information. That's why the government have top secret things that we don't know. Because if we knew it, we probably flip our lid and wreck the damn country if we knew it. You know what I mean? That's why it's top secret and only a handful of people know it. And that's how things, to me, that's how things should stay. That's my opinion. And that's how things should stay, because
Well, one thing I'm gonna chime in here, and then I'm gonna start wrapping up in a little bit. I just want to say, one thing that I've noticed, even though raising children is a lot different from what it was in the past, but one thing that I think that hasn't changed, that I think we probably can all agree at, is that it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a well-rounded child, not just a well-rounded child, but a well-rounded human being. It starts to the parents, but the honest guys, the parents, as the kids start to get into school, they spend probably a little more time in school than they do at home, especially as they get older in high school and things like that. And so it takes a village. And so community, a good sound community helps. I see my daughter and her husband, they moved from where they were so they could raise my granddaughter in a good, solid community. That helps a lot. And the people that you have around as far as family and everything. It takes a village. Just like we were raised in a village. With my mom had 5 sisters, and it was a village. It was a village. So I had not just one mom, I had 6 mothers. And I mean, what's better than that?
Right.
There's nothing better than that. And so I love all my aunts the same way, dearly. I miss my Aunt Nancy. I'm going to shout her out. She passed away a little while ago. And they were all my mothers. I spent time at all of their houses, even my Aunt Shelley's house. I lived with her for a little while, and she had all girls.
One boy.
I stayed with all my aunts, and so it was a beautiful thing. And that's the one thing I think we can all agree on. It takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely, it does. It takes a village to do a lot of things. And on that note,
Yes,
let Jasmine
it definitely does.
because you guys are not that far away from us. My wife and I feel like we the founders of this whole couples clique that I now call it, to help each other. you know, it takes a village to get through being married too. You know,
When I
so-
was a kid, if a neighbor down the street saw me doing something wrong, they tell my mother.
Now I don't know if I ever dealt
Is
with
that Sandra's child? You wait till I see your mother.
I don't know if we ever dealt with that. I don't know. See, for me, because I was bad as a kid. And so it would behoove you not to put your hands on me if you're not my mother or father. And so that never happened. I never was touched by nobody. No,
I didn't
other
say
aunt
that. I said that they would
or
tell my mother.
even told her. I don't know. I'm about to unmute my mom, and she could probably elaborate a little bit on it. But I don't remember dealing with that at all. Did people come tell on us if they saw us doing something wrong or something like that? Mom.
And again, like I said, I think we can all agree that it takes a village. And right now, the villages seem a little broken. We got to fix ourselves as people first. And I'm not saying everybody, but I think we can all agree there's a lot going on in the world right now. Everything from the violence to even the political pressures to whatever. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And the way to raise the better kids is we got to be better as people, I think. And so we're all growing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we all grown. I know I am. I've grown exponentially.
I say it all the time. I owe the benefit of being on this show and talking every week with you guys, especially with Aunt Debbie. She's been a benefit in my life. I want to say that. And it's all you guys. And so I really appreciate being on the show. It's been great. This helps me. I hope it's helping everybody out there. We're trying. We're definitely trying to put on the best shows we can.
Absolutely. I'm enjoying every Sunday. And some FYI, I will be on again. I will be on next Sunday, but I will be on location. So
I will not be on next Sunday. Remember, I'm going to my sister's thing, but I will be watching you guys.
Yeah, I'll be on location, but I'll be on the show.
But I will be watching. Before we wrap up, though, Jazz, is it a possibility we can see the baby before we get out of here at all?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Let me say hi to Cassidy real fast. Because actually, when I spoke, we originally talked when I was leaving here, which I'm about to leave in a few minutes. I was supposed to go to her house, but they recently moved. I mean, like recently moved, and they actually moved further away. And so I'm not going to take that drive right now.
Right.
While we're waiting for Jazz to come back with her baby, I'd like to offer the idea that some adults think that children come into the world empty to be fed information. And children come in with an extreme intelligence that they can read things that we might not be able to read as adults. And therefore, they can read our moods. They know us. Oh my God!
Oh my Cassidy! Hi, baby!
Precious. Oh my God!
Hey, baby!
She looks just like her dad.
So beautiful.
Oh, she's the light of my life. No disrespect to you, Jazz. You're still my baby.
She looked just like her father. Good grief, Charlie Brown. And she got
And there she goes.
Got something to say. What area are you guys in now, Jasmine?
We're in Calvert County.
Oh, Calvert. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're further out, so I won't get a chance to get down there. But I am happy to see my beautiful granddaughter now. And so it's a blessing. And there she goes. All right, guys, we got to start winding up. Boom. What you got going on, family?
You know I'm doing my same thing every week. I will be at Loafers on Wednesday from 8 to 12, doing karaoke, DJing, having a good time. And then we're moving. My family and I, we're moving.
Yes.
So we're moving on starting Thursday.
Congratulations.
Friday, we're moving. Getting up out of here for something better for not only for ourselves, but definitely for our children. So I'm excited about that. We're all excited.
Awesome, man. We're excited for you. We're growing. We're growing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
On Debbie, what you got going on this week?
I'm working on some artwork for an exhibition that I'll be in New Jersey in October.
All right. What I'm talking about.
That is beautiful. Congratulations, and I hope I get a chance to see some of your work.
Oh, I'll invite you to the show.
Oh, absolutely. You have to.
Or next time, I would grab it and just show and tell. For a quick
You can
moment.
take pictures of it and you can put it up.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can definitely post it.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
What you got going on, Shaheed?
Well, me as usual, hard to work on music. I got new stuff coming out, but I first going to be releasing Waitlist just before my birthday. My birthday is September 11th. Yeah, but I'm going to release that just before that. We have new stuff that we're working on. Me and shout out to DJ Debonair Samir, my partner in crime. Some really nice stuff. Also, the video coming out and everything. And I encourage for cannabis users to check out my website. I just added some stuff. TheHazyTrades.com, HAZYTRAYZ.com. I'm sure you'll find something that you'll like. But also, I'm going to give a special mention to one of our cousins, Timothy Taylor. He's one of our cousins on the Taylor side of the family, and he is an inventor. And he's been at me to help promote a new invention of his that seems to be really extraordinary. It's a fire suppression system, and it's a new way of suppressing fires. I will go more into detail on it on a different show, not today's show, but on a different show. But it's called Dragon Tech Fire Suppression. Dragon Tech Fire Suppression Systems. You can find it on Google if you want to see an example for those out there who are looking for a project to invest in. But I will talk about it on another show. And that's it for me.
I hope it's drinkable. I need to put out some fires.
I wish. But okay, that's today's show, guys. I'm Shaheem.
And I'm yours truly.
DJ Boom Boom.
And I'm your aunt.
Yes, she is. And we love her to death, y'all. You can't have her. And so,
Right.
Again, it was great sharing time with you guys. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe, y'all. Like and
Guys,
subscribe.
subscribe.
Thank you for coming on. Thank
Bye,
you,
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for Jasmine for coming on. And Terry,
Bye.
thank you. Thank you for tuning in, y'all.
Bye.